Hello and welcome to our COIL video project, comparing cultures in Brazil to cultures in the United States. Our group is formed by Shanaya, Jaitly, Milan, Harasic, Vega, Joao, Pedro, Oliveira, and Pedro, Rusiel. To do so, we will be focusing on the Hofstede dimensions of culture, specifically collectivism versus individualism and masculinity versus femininity. Hofstede's collectivism reflects a cultural focus on group unity and interdependence, where communal values take precedence over individual interests. This stands in contrast to individualistic societies, which prioritize personal goals and independence. As we were talking with Joao and Pedro, they told us that in Brazil is often perceived as having a collectivist society, emphasizing strong family bonds and social connections. Group harmony and relationships are valued, and individuals may prioritize the needs of their community over personal interests. Cultural events like Carnaval exemplifies a collective spirit promoting unity and shared experiences. However, it's important to note that individual perspectives can vary and not everyone in Brazil may conform to these generalizations. As well, in their gatherings in Brazil, they have very warm greetings and physical contact, which are very common in their social interactions, reflecting the importance of personal connections like handshakes, hugs, and even cheek kisses are typical ways to greet friends and even acquaintances. Brazilians often stand closer during conversations compared to cultures that value more personal space. This proximity this proximity is seen as sign of engagement and friendliness rather than intrusion.
With regard to the Hofstede dimension of masculinity versus femininity, masculinity refers to a society's preference for traditional masculine values such as assertiveness, competitiveness, and achievement, while femininity refers to a preference for nurturing, cooperation, and quality of life. Brazil tends to be classified as a more feminine culture according to the Hofstede dimensions. Brazilian society values relationships, cooperation, and quality of life. This is reflected in the emphasis on family, social relationships, and a generally more relaxed and flexible approach to work and life. Throughout our conversations discussing the culture of our respective countries, Joao and Pedro shared about some of the more traditional gender roles that are still seen in Brazil and some of the non-traditional gender roles. While masculinity is somewhat revered and men are typically seen in positions of power, especially outside of the home, emotions are not unwelcome and cooperation is highly encouraged. Traditionally, men would be seen in positions of high power in office, but women do hold a very important role within family life. For example, in Brazil, it is common for the mother's last name to be passed down to the children rather than the father's.
Now let's talk about masculinity and femininity in the USA. According to meetings with our American colleagues in the United States, the issue of which figure assumes the hierarchy, the states of power within the home, or even the highest position in industry or culture is the male figure. Even though it is a country that seeks gender equality in leadership positions. Shanaya said that although they have made progress and continue to make progress in the field on gender equality in leadership positions, the majority of leadership positions are held by men, whether in government or companies. Milan commented that the people who hold the most stakes and power in a family and culture are the parents, and they are the ones who make the decisions and establish the whole to have a loving and respectful home.